It's 2018, and there are so many people who are just drifting through life, lost in the distractions of our fast-paced technological world, wasting their chance to use their voices to make a change. Why? Because it's really hard to stand up to what's wrong, and it's very easy to accept it, to turn away and hide when we aren't the ones being directly affected. We live in a country of safety and prosperity, where messy politics doesn't result in tragic consequences. That's confined to countries overseas or at our borders. But when we turn on the TVs to see yet another casualty count, we aren't experiencing the effects firsthand of war and persecution, like those in Syria and Myanmar. We aren't targets of violence and hate. We aren't starving or wounded or dying. And our children still go to school in relative safety. We're sitting in what compares as absolute luxury, in warm houses with an abundance of food and every creature comfort imaginable, where we get the watered-down version of the day's events, and the plight of mistreated graces our screens for a few hours before being swept away and forgotten about in the cacophony of information we receive. We get snippets of violence shoved between celebrity gossip, death counts followed by the newest iPhone release. Enough truth to make us uncomfortable, to coax a few tears out of dry eyes and strike a chord in our hearts, but enough distraction that we can hide behind, so that we can refrain from acting on the hurt we feel. Because we live in an era where we don't really define feeling. We throw around words like love and hate without realizing the depths of these emotions. And honestly, who can blame us? We're tangled up in social media, where likes and followers drive our self-esteem. We use Tumblr posts to describe what we're feeling. We subtweet and cyberbully because the idea of confronting someone face-to-face is panic-inducing, and it's so easy to hide behind a screen, behind a username. We spend more time on the internet than with our families. We debate fake news more than politics, a president's Twitter account more than international crises, and celebrity children's names and clothing more than the plight of millions of starving children worldwide. We are sleepwalking through life, complacent in comfort, deaf to despair. We're sleepwalking, and we need to wake up. Change begins with us, with our generation, and you've all heard it before, from parents and teachers and youth speakers. But it's finally time that we start believing it. We need to stand up, to voice how we feel, to put a name and a face to our words. We can no longer be afraid of emotion. We have to embrace anger at injustice, to grieve loss at senseless death, to be broken long enough to feel each other's anguish, to truly empathize. But we can't let that hopelessness lead our actions. We must revel in the good as well. We have to feel happy and powerful and connected to one another. We have to embrace the strength that comes with empathy and to break out of the stagnant lives we're living in, to unite, make a difference. There's so many powerful examples of young people changing the world. At 12 years of age, Craig Kielburger and a few of his classmates took up a dream that they grew into a worldwide movement known as Me Too. At 15, a young Pakistani girl stood up for her gender's rights to education in an oppressive political climate. Today she's known as Malala Yousafzai, an author, public speaker, and Nobel Prize winner. But who best embodies this call to action? Who can we look to as a pioneer of youth in action but our very own Terry Fox, who at the age of 21 decided to run across Canada one agonizing step at a time, all in the hopes of finding a cure for cancer. You see, each of these causes started with one teenager and one dream, backed by a steely determination to accomplish their goal. And these are just the well-known ones. There are millions, thousands more if you choose to look. Just last month, children and students all across the United States rose up to speak out against gun violence. And within 2 weeks of that, they effected change, when Governor Phil Scott changed the laws of the state of Vermont to reflect greater gun control. So don't be afraid of speaking out, because the truth is that adults govern for today, but youth are the powerhouse of tomorrow. Governments are afraid of change. They want to keep running the world the same way it's been run for generations. They're comfortable with their power and uncomfortable with the unknown. And they fear us because we can be that change. We aren't the first generation of young people who want change, who want revolution, but we're the first ones who finally have all the tools to do it. We have the world in our pockets, the internet at our fingertips, with history to learn from, and social media as a platform for ideas. We can accomplish anything we set our minds to. So some adults try to silence us, to keep us down. They tell us, "You're children, not equals," that we're too young, too naive and inexperienced, and that when we have seen and done and learned all that they have learned, then we may finally speak. But the thing is, no amount of education or age or experience can immediately qualify one person to be more important than another, or for the voice of an adult to have more power than a voice of a teenager. We need youth to bring a new voice to the global conversation, because we're growing up in a world where stigmas and stereotypes are being broken down, where we talk openly about racism and sexism and mental health, where we're learning the importance of speaking up for those who don't have a voice, for those who have been silenced. We need youth because we may be young, but we are strong, we are compassionate, and we long for a better world. So don't be discouraged that adults hold the power. Our words have power, our actions have power, and together we cannot be ignored. So put down your virtual battle weapons. Arm yourselves with words, ideas, and political convictions, and take up a real fight. Because we are the youth that can create tomorrow. So what will you choose? Thank you.